What's up, everybody? It's Stephen A. Williams with Let's Level Up Your Business and Blue Book MKE and Making Money with Stephen A. Williams on YouTube. I have another video for you on the mind, the mindset. I believe that if we can get our mind set in the right direction, that we could become, number one, become the person who you want to be. Like if we break down probably one of the most frustrating things that people go through in their life is that they live their life not being who they want to be. It's like they're not doing what they want to be. What I'm doing right now, what I'm doing with YouTube, what I'm doing with other platforms, what I'm doing with my businesses, what I do when I'm at home. I'm doing what I wanted to do. I'm doing what I pictured in my mind. Like I talked about something that had happened when I was in the military. I was 18 years old, and I remember I used to walk into my first sergeant's office. In my first sergeant's office, I was going to draw it on the board, but I would walk in there, and I was like, he's in charge. And then behind him was the captains. So it was like there was one desk when you first walk in the office, and it was either a sergeant there or it could be a lower ranking individual there, in a way like a secretary. And then the next office behind there was the first sergeant's office. And then the next office after that was the captain's office. And I was thinking to myself, like, man, and like, that's how I want my office to be. And so what I started doing is I knew I was going to be in business. Like, I knew I was going to be a business person, even at that young age. And I was like, when I have my office, I want to have it just like this. I want to have a secretary when people come in, and then my office will be behind there. And then here's the crazy thing on how, if you visualize what you want and you get things lined up the right way, that stuff will materialize for you. And it's crazy because there came a point where first we rented an office for one of my businesses, and the first office we rented, when I look back, it was not set up that way that I had it in my mind. When people came in, they came right to my office. And then the second office that we had, it was so people could come into the office, but they could see the secretary, and then they can also see me right there. When I was in the military, you could not see directly. You could see what the first sergeant was doing. You could see the door, and he could close his door, but you could not just see both. And so at the second office we had, you could see secretary that I had, and then you could see me right there. But I didn't realize this at that time. It just followed me on this. Then an opportunity came up to buy two buildings. One was across the street. They were across the street from each other. And this is how the mind works. So my wife and I are focused on the one across the street, and it was difficult. People were saying someone else wanted it. I think a cell phone store also wanted it. So it was going to be like a bidding war for that building. And then I looked at that building, I drove, and I was like, okay, it's still there. We have a chance. And then I did a U-turn to go back to my office that I was leasing. And all of a sudden I see this sign, little yard sign at another building. And I told my wife, that building is for sale, and it's got just a little yard sign. They don't even have a big sign to sell it. And so we called the people up, and they had been trying to sell it for years, like 5 years. It's been empty. And it was like, I never noticed this building. So that's another thing. When you start to move towards something, your awareness will come up and things will be revealed to you. You will start to see things that you didn't see. Like I've saw the building across the street, and I never saw the sign for the other building. And I would go to up that road to go to the office that I was leasing. I would go there that route every day and going back and forth to clients. I would be on that route and never saw that sign. We end up getting that building. We ended up cutting a deal. We negotiated and got that building at an excellent price. We still own it to this day. But here is the part about the visualization that went all the way back that I didn't even realize what I had dreamed about and visualized about when I was in the military, is that when people came into that office, they would see the secretary, and my office was behind where she was at, and they could not see me. My door could always close, but there was no way that they could see me. It was like when I realized that, I was like, visualization and like having what you visualize and what you end up getting, when those two meet, that's what you're trying to meet. Like you could be trying to do something to become successful, but the reason why it's not working is because that wasn't what you had visualized. So you either need to change what you're visualizing. Like you need to know what you really want for yourself and visualize that. And then don't accept anything else until you get that picture for you, because that's what's going to work. That's why you could try to do a business, and really deep down inside, you don't want to do that business. Like there's been businesses that I was in, made money in them, or even lost money in them, but I let them go because it wasn't what I wanted. And you have to move forward on what you want, because that's how you become who you want to be. You don't become who you want to be by doing things you don't want to do. So now let's look at where you're at right now, and let's start to break down some of the things that might be holding you back from becoming who you want to be. So this is you. This is who you want to be. Right now, you're running on, this is what you run on. This is like if you had a wallet, or you got a purse, like this is what you lean yourself on right now every day. All of us do. But you got to be very careful, because I'm about to break down to you why you got to be very careful about this. So right now, you're leading your life based on the knowledge that you have, which is information, which is beliefs, and you have certain fears. So now, where did you get those from? You didn't just wake up, or you wasn't just born and you had you were given a backpack and said, well, here, this is the knowledge that you're going to have. This is the fears you're going to have. This is all the information that we're going to give you. And, this is the way that these are the beliefs that you're going to have. And this is the way you're going to lead your life. It doesn't work that way. So where did you get that information from? So you got it from your parents. You got it from your church, if religious. You got it from other family members. You got it from friends. You got it from teachers. And a whole bunch of other people you got stuff from. Either TV, what you heard, certain books, all of that stuff. Everything goes into that. So now what I want you to think, this is the breakthrough. Let's talk about the breakthrough. The breakthrough. Some of that information is true. Some of that information is false. For the purposes of this training, that doesn't matter. What I want you to focus on so you can make this breakthrough in your life for whatever you're trying to do is that where So this is the who. Where did they get theirs from? And if you thought about it, wouldn't they have gotten theirs from the same group? If you really think about it. And then let's just even go back further. Where did that group get theirs from? From that other same group? So where did that group get theirs from? From that same group? And then when I was doing this exercise, this was one of the most prevalent things that came up when I talked to people about it, is that religion, church came up. So then I said, okay, well, where did the church get it from? So first they broke down the different disciples, Jesus, and then so they did the disciples. Probably didn't spell that right. And then the next thing they said, like the bottom line came from God. That was the bottom line of what the person who I was going back and forth with told me. And then I said, okay, well, where did God get it from? Right or wrong, where did it come from? So what I was trying to get across when I was talking to that individual, and what I was and what it came to my mind, like when I have my deep thoughts, is that wouldn't it be, to be able to be who you want to be, wouldn't it be of some importance to start putting thoughts into your own thoughts? Like, have a clean slate. Like, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to be, you have this side here. So don't worry, you can always run back over there to that side. It's always going to be there. Going to tell you things. Some of them are going to try to scare you. Some of them are going to say you can't do this, and they say you can't do it because they were told they couldn't do it, and on and on and on going back. Or you could just do this. You could say, nothing exists. Nothing exists except for what I imagine. And then what I imagine for myself, I'm going to bring that into existence. So that means that when you say those words, you discount that. You discount this. This is a very, very hard process. It's a very hard process. But when I think about the office, there were people who told me in my early years, this can't happen for you. You have no money. You don't have the same education as those other people. You didn't come from a family that gave you wealth. So it's going to be very hard for you. You might have to get lucky to be wealthy. So what I did in my own mind, and what I continue to do to this day, and it takes practice, is that I understand we have this, but how about I imagine and I tell myself who I want to be, and I give myself the information, my own beliefs, and fear. I understand that fear is really just false evidence appearing real. So we don't even need to worry about fear, because let me tell you the reason why you don't have to worry about fear. Because what is going to happen is going to happen. People talk about that all the time with church. They'll say, well, hey, it was God's will. Well, if it's going to happen, and if it's God's will, well, then why do you have to have any fears? So get rid of the fears. If it's going to happen, and You know, there was nothing you could do about it. Well, then get rid of the fears. So that right there takes a major block away from people being able to move forward. When I decided to buy that building, the landlord that I was renting from, this is what he said to me. You don't want to own your own building. Oh, you're going to have all of these expenses. If the heat goes out, you got to fix the heat. You got to pay a water bill. We already paid the water bill for you. Now, think about this. I was paying this guy almost $1,000 a month. And I think now with this building is like $1,500, $1,600 a month. I paid for the building that I got. We negotiated it down to I think $43,000. The building now is worth probably $500,000. And so already you can see that decision worked better for me with my family. But what he was trying to do is he was trying to put fears. He was trying to get me to fear. So where do we get that information from? He was giving me that information. And it doesn't matter if it's right or wrong. What I'm saying is that people give you information and you don't even know it. You're not even fully aware of it, that it's coming from what they think. That it's not allowing you to be who you want to be because you didn't think it. What we want to start doing is we want you to start coming up with your own information based off of what you see, based off of what you experience, not by experiencing it through the eyes of these. Because basically what you do with this is what's happening. This is you. This is going right here, and you're living your life, and that's why you run into that wall, because you're like, I don't want my life to be this way, I want it to be that way, but there's this big wall here. The big wall is all of this stuff that the people put into you. So it's going here, and then that wall is built up, and over time, it gets harder for you to be who you want to be. That's why we got a lot of frustration. That's why we got people taking drugs. That's why we got people drinking themselves to death. That's why we got people that just watch TV all day. That's why we got people that just eat all day, that don't even do anything with their life. That's why people won't even get up in front of a board like I'm doing here and put myself out in front for, if you don't like it, if you think that it's something funny, that I'm crazy, that is not for me to worry about, because by me doing this video, this is who I want to be. I can't live for you and you can't live for me, but most people are living the life of what these people told them to live. And what I'm giving you is I'm giving you freedom. So it doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're trying to do it on a personal level, you're trying to do it on a business level, I'm giving you some information on how you can become more of who you want to be. And it is a process. None of this stuff is easy to go through, because you love your parents. If you're religious, you love the church, you love God, you love your friends, you love your family, and your teachers, you respect your teachers and whoever else you get information from. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you're watching on YouTube or any other platform, please like this video. I want to get your comments. I want to get your questions about this. Thank you for your time. This is Stephen A. Williams with Making Money with Stephen A. Williams on YouTube. And let's level up your business and